So this PowerPoint presentation is about Erikson's stages. Life. Point 1, challenges. Point 2, crises. Crisis. Freud's first point is psychosexual development. Point 2, development in early years. Point 3, all individuals move to the next stage of pleasure area. So Erikson's his first point is psychosocial development. Second point, development is a lifelong process. Third point, progress to a higher stage depends upon success in the lower ones. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Erikson's 8 stages. So Erikson's psychosocial development. 8 stages, each stage depends on the previous stage. So success in each stage is the success of the positive sense, but not 100%. At each stage, the individual faces a developmental challenge or crisis that must be resolved. The way in which the individual resolve each crisis will have a long-lasting effect on the person's self-image and view of society. So when, in a way, it's just saying you have to pass each stage as a test, and you have to pass the test. You might not get an A, B, or C, or D, but you have to pass the test to a certain level to move on to the next stage. So stage 1, trust versus mistrust. The first years of life. So babies depend on others, particularly parents, if their needs are met consistently. So positive outcomes are attachment with the mother/caregiver is achieved. Second point, infants will develop a basic sense of trust in the world and the environment. So these are the positive outcomes. So the negative outcomes are a sense of mistrust towards the world and the environment. So this is the first stage. So second stage, versus autonomy versus shame and doubt, age 1 to 3. So point 1, a stage of using the toilet, learning to walk, and learning to talk and do many other things by themselves. Second point, child needs encouragement and assurances when he makes mistakes. Third point, if parents are overprotective or disapproving of the child's act of independence, he may begin to feel ashamed of his behavior or have too much doubt in his abilities. So basically, if your child, from what I'm taking from this, if he drops a cup, he knows that he made a mistake. You shouldn't be scolded, or you shouldn't be angry at him, make him feel guilty from having an accident. Okay, stage 3, initiative versus guilt. So this is from ages 3 to 6. Point 1, wider social world and more challenges. Point 2, responsibilities for their bodies, behaviors, toys, etc. Point 3, responsibility increases initiative and results in successful development. Point 4, feeling irresponsible or too anxious increases the feeling of guilt and the end a negative or unsuccessful development. And the last point, a sense of accomplishment helps development in this stage. So this is stage 3, initiative versus guilt. Okay, so carrying on with stage 3, initiative versus guilt. Wider social world and more challenge. more relatives are involved, more age mates, the kindergarten, positive outcome, a sense of initiative, negative outcome, a sense of guilt. So stage 4, industry versus inferiority, age 6 to 12. Successful development needs, so this again is stage 4, industry versus inferiority. Okay, so successful development needs, point 1, school year's competence. Point 2, many new experiences and skills. Point 3, knowledge and intellectual skills. Imagination, Harry Potter. So, just use of imagination, I guess. Next point, children are serious and enthusiastic about learning. Teachers play a major role in this stage. So this is industry versus inferiority. Okay, now stage 5. Identify versus identity confusion. Sorry, it's not identify. It's identity versus identity confusion. Successful development needs. Point 1. Adolescents resolve the questions of who they are, what they are all about, and what they're going to, and where they're going in life. So adolescents resolve the questions of who they are, what they are all about, and where they're going in life. Next point is many new roles and adult statuses such as vocational and romantic. They need to explore in many directions and roles. Okay, now moving on to identity confusion is the result of the failure to explore. An identity is pushed on the adolescent by parents and society. A positive future path is not defined. So I get identity, what they're trying to say is parents want you to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever, and they want you to be that, but you want to be something else, so you're confused. Try to keep it simple. Okay, the first 5 stages of child adolescent depends on the environment. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. Successful development needs, point 1, forming intimate relationships, finding oneself and yet losing oneself in another. Next point, healthy friendships. Failure in healthy relationships will develop a sense of isolation. So I guess this stage is more about forming relationships. So the healthier friendships you have, the better you are. So if you don't form healthy relationships, you have a sense of isolation, more of a loner type character. Okay, stage 7. Okay, so now it's stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. Generativity is helping the younger generation. A sense of stagnation results from feeling that the person had not assisted the younger generation. Okay, he needs to give more information, but I hope you guys understand this because I'm getting it a bit. So generativity is helping the younger generation. Also, if you don't help, I guess, the younger generation, they're stagnated, meaning they're at one point, they can't move forward in life. So you have to kind of assist the younger generation, otherwise they'll be stagnated. Okay, stage 8. Integrity versus despair. This is the last point of this PowerPoint. So stage 8, integrity versus despair. Old age is a time for the person to reflect on his or her past for the last time. This stage depends on what had happened in the previous 7 stages. If the person is satisfied with his or her past, a sense of integrity will color his or last years. A sense of despair is the negative outcome of the old age crisis. So I guess old age crisis, midlife crisis, the old crisis. So in this PowerPoint I can see there's not a lot of information, but we have to see there's 8 points, 8 stages of Erikson. So let me run down the 8 stages again quickly. Stage 1, trust versus mistrust. The first years of life. Stage 2, autonomy versus shame and doubt, ages 1 to 3. Stage 4, industry versus inferiority. Stage 5, identity versus identity confusion. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. Stage 7, so stage 7 again was generativity versus stagnation. Stage 8 is integrity versus despair. And those are the 8 stages. So if you don't understand this, Google it. You get more information on the 8 stages. But I guess the exam's going to be on the 8 stages. So that's it.